play into the final year of his deal. Bring us on, camera. Let me break down the math. So the Cowboys could have given Dak another deal, Dave Hellman. You know this better than anybody. They've chosen not to, at least not yet, which means Dak Prescott, Shady, is going to play the last year of his deal. This is completely unheard of. You don't let franchise quarterbacks, you don't let all-pro quarterbacks, you don't let the face of your organization go into the last year of his deal because he might wise up and say, you know what? Don't sign me. I want to hit free agency. Shady, you've seen big-time paper in your career, and you've seen big-time performances. Will this be Dak Prescott's last season in Dallas?
Tell me what you think, man. Come on.
It might be. It all depends on Dak Prescott, right? I was saying this all along. Why would you want to pay this quarterback when you know what he's going to do in the postseason? The regular season, yeah, sign him up. Postseason, you don't know what he's going to get. Is it going to be the all-pro, or is it going to be the regular Dak that we see every postseason?
Don't give me a might be.
No.
Will it be?
I'm going to give it to you. Hold on. I'm working to it. Let me land. My thing is, I'm going to say no.
Oh, wow.
Psych! Yes, it's over. It's over. Because you know why? Because Dak is going to be Dak. He's going to have a good season, right? Postseason, he's going to lose. That's what he does. If he can take this team to the NFC Championship game, then we could be talking about extension.
Sure.
But he's not going to give you that. And there's no reason why I would be paying a quarterback all this money to give me the same results. You can go out there and get your young quarterback to take you through the regular season and get to the postseason and don't win. And you got all these other players to pay. When you talk about a Michael Parsons, you talk about CeeDee Lamb, talk about Zach Martin. These guys want their money, and they deserve it. Dak Prescott, I mean, he might have a good year here or there, but not to stay. So, yes, I'm going opposite. I don't think he would be. And I will say this. When Dak Prescott leaves the Cowboys, we will not be talking about him every other week. Do you know why? He'll be like every other quarterback. That's just good. Good. Right? When you play with the star, they make you bigger than what you really are. And we'll see that coming real soon.
What'd you say? When you do what?
When you play for the star, they make people look better than what they really are.
That's a bar. That's a bar. You've been here for a year and a half, and you just now dropping that.
It might be the LSU game. What's that first name?
Flo Shady.
Oh, it's Flo Shady. I don't know. It's something to it.
Shady is in rare form, America. I will not apologize. I will just say congratulations. You are seeing rare form, Shady. Joy Taylor, the operative word there is will this be Dak Prescott's last season in Dallas?
I think so. Now, I do think it depends on how the season ends, but it's almost scientific. Cowboys at this point, we know what the cycle is. We know what they have. I don't know how they could have possibly been better than they were last year. I don't know how they could have been better than they were at home last year. None of it mattered. It still ended up the exact same way. He's going to be great during the regular season. He's going to put up incredible numbers. They're going to win the division or be competing for the division. They're going to be in the postseason, and then they're going to disappoint.
Yeah.
It happens every single year.
Sounds about right.
So if that changes, then I think my answer will change. Because if Dak Prescott can get the Cowboys over that hump, which really means just getting to the NFC Championship game. I'm not even talking about the Super Bowl because there's no need for us to associate the Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys at this point. So get to the NFC Championship game. If he can do that, not only do I think he should stay, regardless of what the market is, because there's something to being close to, just keep, you're there every single year and eventually you break through. And then there's a very fine line between that and doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And to me, I think that's what the Cowboys are because the team, I don't know how you could have been better than you were last year. Dak Prescott couldn't have been better than he was last year. He was an all-pro for the first time in his career. He had the best season of his career. And what happened? Dave?
They lost in the playoffs.
When?
First round.
Against who? The youngest team in the
youngest. You could have asked, what always happens, Dave? You know what I'm saying?
Is it my turn?
Let me hold on. Because I will say that we hear a lot of Cowboys conversations on national television, but whenever there's a Cowboys conversation, I truly believe there's no better voice to hear from than the one to my left, Dave Hellman. Dave, you and I were working in Dallas at the Star when Dak Prescott was drafted. You worked for the Cowboys before the Star existed, going back to Valley Ranch.
Oh, the building itself, yeah.
Exactly.
I was like, not the
before the building existed. So of all the voices you all ever hear, listen to, radio, television, podcasts, etc., about the Cowboys, the voice that you are about to hear is probably the most credible as it pertains to really knowing the inside scoop. So, Dave, let me ask you this. Will it be Dak Prescott's last season in Dallas?
No, it won't be Dak's last season. And look, actually, here's the difference. So y'all were gracious enough to bring me on here in 2022, and we've been having this dance ever since, right? And I'll meet you, Shady, and you, Joy, halfway and even say a lot of the stuff that y'all just said is true, and it's fair. But I do think y'all are.
Well, thank you.
Y'all are more worried about how things should be and not how they will be. Not how the business of the NFL works. Real quick, answer me quickly. Has Kirk Cousins accomplished more in his career than Dak Prescott?
No, sir.
No. You could say it's equal. He hasn't done more.
Correct.
What just happened to him? He tore his Achilles 5 years older than Dak Prescott and signed a major extension, because that is the value of quality quarterback play in the NFL, regardless of what happens once the postseason starts. If you're capable of being a franchise guy and leading a team to playoff caliber records on a regular basis, you get paid. Dak Prescott will get paid by somebody next year. It almost doesn't matter how he plays. Almost. He does need to play well, preferably stay healthy. But as long as he does what he's done his entire career, never had a losing record, by the way, in his entire NFL career, he's going to be in line for a major contract.
But where?
That's
the question. Where?
You didn't say it.
The answer,
you said somewhere.
The answer is in Dallas, and here's why. I've had a lot of time to think about this, because honestly, this is the closest to a crisis of faith as I've ever had. Because look, I told y'all this last time I was on. That Green Bay game stunk. And Dak was part of it. The defense was as well, but Dak played poorly in that game. The reason I think he stays in Dallas, and this is what I've had a lot of time to think about, I think the Cowboys will cave. I think the Cowboys will at some point recognize, oh, it's scary out there in no quarterback land. What did Arthur Blank just do? He suffered through 3 years of miserable quarterback play after Matt Ryan left and paid Kirk Cousins, who hasn't accomplished as much as Dak Prescott. What might the Patriots do at the top of this draft? Draft a quarterback, because Robert Kraft is sick of having not Tom Brady. It sucks to not have a quarterback. The Cowboys know that at the end of the day. And we have a track record that suggests that they do this. They talked tough about Zeke Elliott. He skipped out on training camp. What happened? They gave him the biggest running back contract in the NFL. They talked tough about DeMarcus Lawrence, their star edge rusher. What happened? They eventually caved and gave him a huge defensive end contract. When a guy is worth paying, they usually pony up eventually, and it won't be any different.
So you tell me what they do, but tell me what they should do, because I don't think they should sign Dak to a long-term deal, because we all know the Cowboys more than likely aren't going to win a Super Bowl this year. It's unfortunate. I was born in Dallas, and I was born on the precipice of them winning 3 Super Bowls in that 4 or 5 year run. So Dave, Joy, Shady, what should the Cowboys do? I think this should be Dak's last season in Dallas. Unfortunately for the Cowboys, you're stuck in that quarterback purgatory period where Dak is so good that you don't get a great draft pick, but he's not good enough to win you anything substantial. So, Shady, let me start with you. What should the Cowboys do? Should this be Dak's last season?
They're doing the right thing right now. This is the stepping start, right? Starting in the right direction. Hey, we wanted to pay him. You know what? Let's take a break on that. There was all this conversation about it. Are they going to pay Dak? No. Why are we paying him? Yes, he's a good player. Yes, it took him 8 years to get one All-Pro. Yes, we get that. But what have you done for us? It's a couple of regular season wins? They won more than that. It's the Dallas Cowboys. It's not Atlanta Falcons, right? This is the Patriots. It's not the Patriots without Tom Brady. It's the Dallas Cowboys, the biggest brand in football, biggest brand in sports.
Than the Cowboys.
What I'm saying is, though, after Tom, then what? Who are we, right? Because no matter, I don't care who the quarterback is for the Cowboys, it's always going to be a big brand. Tony Romo was big time, right? Big time. He leaves. Now, Dak Prescott comes in there, 4th round, 5th round pick, wherever he was. He's big time now. Yep. So what I'm saying is, his time is over. Unless he go out there and takes the NFC Championship game, why are we paying this guy? We don't want to be the Falcons, Dave Hellman. We don't want to be them. So to answer your question, and another thing, I got to do this.
Go ahead, do what you got to do.
You brought up Zeke Elliott, right? First of all, they had to pay Zeke.
They didn't have to.
I mean, they do.
They absolutely did not have to.
Your best player, your best players that's young that you draft, if they ball out, and their second contract should be the easiest to get. That typically happens, right?
He went for it 2 years early, though. That was the thing.
However you want to cut it, however you want to cut the slices up, if you are a hell of a player and you get drafted to his team and you ball out, your second contract should be the easiest one to get. And that's what he got. DeMarcus Lawrence, hell of a player on defense. But we talking about the quarterback who makes majority of the money on the team. So if you want to have 9 All-Pros like you had this year, you want to have these type of good players, you need to have your quarterback balling at a nice number. Because if not, we know Dak Prescott can't win games without having them superstars with him. Because he can't win with them.
Should, Joy, should.
I'm torn because Dave's not lying. They do be caving. But I don't know. Every year, Jerry gets a little more
He's tired. He's tired of it, Joey. He's tired of it.
You know, there's conversations about having a quarterback battle with him and
the winner, Cooper Rush. No, the winner, Cooper Rush.
Okay.
You know, and we've seen stranger things happen. Aaron Rodgers is playing for a different team now. Russell Wilson is playing for a different team now. Tom Brady left and played for a different team. I'm obviously not putting these guys in the same category, but franchise guys leave for other teams.
It happens.
Matthew Stafford, it does happen. So it's not unthinkable that he would end up leaving the Cowboys. I think it really just matters how the season ends. Because while I agree with you, not having a quarterback, being in no man's land with not having a quarterback is a nightmare scenario to be in. But we've seen so much movement with that position over the past couple years. You don't know who's going to be available. We didn't know that Russell Wilson is in Pittsburgh right now.
That's true.
He was in Seattle, he was in Denver, he's now in Pittsburgh. And I'm not saying that Russell Wilson is going to play at the same level that Dak Prescott played last year, but certainly Russell Wilson is more accomplished than Dak Prescott. Yes. There are guys who will be on the market next year that we aren't thinking or have any idea are going to be available right now. Whether that's what the Cowboys will end up doing or not, I do think that if they do decide, if they have the same exact ending that they've had and they decide to stick with Dak Prescott again, I think that's fine. I think Kirk Cousins is always a very good comparable.
It gets better and better every year,
sure,
that comparison.
But the money is fine. I'm just not talking about you as a Super Bowl team. Like, at one point, it has to stop. It has to stop. We don't talk about the Falcons like they are Super Bowl contenders. We think they're a better team. We think they are actively trying to improve. We think they have a lot of young pieces. They hired a new coach. They went out and got Kirk Cousins. They're making positive moves. But none of us are going to pick them to get to or win the Super Bowl this year. Maybe they will, and that would be incredible. But nobody's doing that right now. But we will, in a few months, sit up here and talk about the Cowboys as being Super Bowl contenders. And at this point, it's madness.
But we know the answer to that.
Kurt
we know why we do that.
He didn't get 60 a year, though.
That's the point, though. Like, if you are actually... The reason we're not talking about them as Super Bowl contenders because we don't think that Kirk Cousins is capable of doing that because we've not seen him have the capacity to do that, even if he is a good quarterback. So why do we do that with the Cowboys other than the fact that it's the Cowboys? It's because they're so talented everywhere else. And then this year, when he had the best year of his career, the exact same thing happened.
And they've done less to make the team around him good this year. I mean, that we have to acknowledge that. I don't know how you argue that.
But I'm saying,
I don't know how you argue that. They're down like 3 Pro Bowlers from last year.
Let me ask you a nuanced question before I go to break. This is a question you probably don't hear often on television because this has to do with being inside the Cowboys facility, which you and I both were. Me for 2 years, you for roughly 10 plus. I would say the Cowboys, the 5 most beloved Cowboys, 2023. I would say Zach Martin. I would say Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons. I would say DeMarcus Lawrence. I would say Tyron Smith. Historically.
CD Lamb?
CD?
No, I'm talking historically. I'm talking like, I'm not talking like best. I'm talking like, remember how people thought DeMarco Murray was loved, and I was like, no, they don't love DeMarco like that. They love other guys. Yeah, it's not a real TV combo. It's like you kind of got to see how they look at cats.
I get what you mean.
Tyron Smith is gone.
Sure is.
Tyron Smith is probably the best Cowboys player not named Zach Martin in the last 10 years.
Since the triplets left.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's gone. Zeke was beloved, gone. To Joy's point, Shady's point, we've seen Tyron Smith, his name will be in the Ring of Honor one day. He will likely be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's gone. Is it that far-fetched that if you're going to let go of Tyron Smith, first-round pick, $100 million, gave you a family deal, Tyron.
I get it, yeah.
That you're not going to let go of that.
And look, I know you said we got to go to break. And my question, and Joy brought it up. I know we can't always predict how this is going to go. We don't know who's going to come available and who's not. But what is the realistic alternative that is better than a guy that was just second-team All-Pro? Joy mentioned Russell Wilson. He got traded. Matthew Stafford got traded. You can do these blockbuster deals. They can't trade Dak. He also has a no-trade clause. He's got a no-tag clause and a no-trade clause. What's going to happen is the Cowboys are going to get a deal done with him before March of next year, or he's going to hit the open market as a 31-year-old all-pro caliber quarterback. Those guys get paid massive amounts of money. And, again, if you can't trade Dak and get the haul that goes along with that, which they can't unless he gives them the say-so, What's the better alternative?
But don't.
Can't
I ask you the exact? I'm glad we're having this conversation now. I could ask you the exact same thing about Tyron Smith. Cowboys currently don't have a tackle.
Yeah.
Tyron Smith about to go make $20 million up to with the Jets. Tyron Smith as a left tackle is the second most important position in football outside of quarterback, and the Cowboys let him walk.
I'm gonna get real in the weeds with you here. I'm gonna go for it.
Oh, we'll go to it then.
You can't. I mean, there's 8 first-round caliber offensive tackles in the NFL draft this year. There's a good chance there will be a starting right away caliber left tackle available in the draft. That doesn't happen at the quarterback position. Those guys go high. The position's inflated. We're talking about
is never draft a quarterback high, though.
They absolutely don't. They haven't needed to because they've fallen ass backward into Tony Romo as an undrafted free agent, and Dak Prescott is a 4th-round pick. Maybe that'll work for them again, but the law of averages says probably not. And I go back to the point, I'm not even trying to tell you Dak is the best quarterback in the league. I don't think that. I know.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
But what is the realistic option that is going to be better than Dak? And again, for the Cowboys,
have you ever gotten sick of something?
All the time.
So sometimes just something else is the better option.
It's easy to say that.
I know it is.
It's easy to say that.
Do this all the time.
The Cowboys do this all the time.
I don't know, but
and then another thing's like, do you really want to pay him $60 million a year?
I don't.
Because you keep saying Kirk Cousins, he didn't get that, right? So now you're going to play a quarterback who's not the best in the NFL, about 11, 12, 13th. Dak Prescott, right?
10th.
Yeah, 10th.
Whatever. Cool. You're 10th. $60 million at the top of the market, and I know what's going to happen. I know we're not going to the Super Bowl, and I know we're not going to the NFC Championship game. We know these things. So why would I pay you $60 million?
It's easy to say that that's not worth it.
It's a bad investment.
Until the guy that comes after him can't even keep you in the race.
Yeah, but it's also tough to look around the league and see guys like Baker Mayfield doing more in the postseason in the same year.
Can I say one more thing?
And making less, way less.
Jerry Jones is, and I don't mean to be glib about this, but Jerry Jones is an 81-year-old man. He's trying to get the Cowboys to their first championship since the 1995 season. What sounds more realistic to fit it into that window, to do it quickly?
Answer this question, too.
Keeping the expensive all-pro or jumping off that diving board into no man's land and not knowing how well it's going to work out. It sounds easy until you're the one that has to do it.
What does the history tell you, though? That's a great question you just asked. To the world. Let's answer it.
What does the history tell me of this track record of success?
You asked.
Of doing it?
You said he's 81 years old, he's trying to win a championship. And you said, should we pay the guy we have now, right? That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Or get somebody new, right?
Yeah.
My question is, or my answer is like, well, what are you going to do? Because we've seen what Dak Prescott does. We've seen it.
And it is easy to say that that is not good enough until you have lived with what is not good enough. That's my only point.
Well, we'll go out there and get $6 million quarterback. They ain't going to win.
Go look at the 2021 quarterback draft class. Like 5 of those guys taking the first round.
Dave, I got to interrupt you for one more.
I know, we got to go.
Where'd you go to college?
LSU.
LSU.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Tigers. LSU. Caitlin Clark.
This right?
About 3 hours from now. It is a